Want me to clap?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it a little closer.
You want it closer? Oh, the mic.
And just so you can see it.
Okay. So when you got to the Olympics in 1956, there was something that happened to your manager. Manager?
Yeah, team manager Christy Murphy. He was taken to hospital, and he was very bad. So they kept him in the hospital there. So I was the captain of the team, and I was supposed to look after him. And it was they could do whatever they wanted. All I was caring about was myself.
Right.
But everything turned out right. You know, everybody trained what they had to train and do what they had to do. And it was great. And they were calling me captain. I had a new name. That I was the captain of the team.
And when you were the captain of the team, you also then you carried in the flag, right?
I was,
Opening ceremonies.
Opening ceremonies. I was carrying the flag in. And that flag, I still have it. When you went round the stadium carrying the flag, and as you came outside, there was an army truck there and those soldiers, and they took the flag off you and put it back into the army truck. So when I came out, I asked the fellow, can I have this? He says, no, he says, we're too busy. He says, maybe if you come back later when the parade's over. And he says, we'll get you the flag. So I said, all right. So I went to the truck and I said, I left it about a couple of feet sticking out from the rest of the flags. So when the games were over, the parade was over, I went over and I said, can I have that flag? Yeah, I said, yes. He said, you can have it if you can find it. So it was sticking out, so I just pulled it out and I got the flag.
The opening ceremonies, they must have been pretty spectacular, and you know, there's hundreds of people. There were all people in the stadium watching it, and then all the teams. Like, how big of an event was it?
Oh, it was a big thing. You couldn't see, you couldn't hear yourself. It was just people.
So did you start getting really excited, and did you start to realize that how big of an event this is, and how?
Oh yeah. You just spellbound. You couldn't believe it, and it's something that I never forgot any minute of it.
And your poor coach or manager, Christy, missed it all.
He was in the hospital, yeah.
So what happened? So the event starts to happen, and when you weren't training for your match then and not boxing, did you go see any of your other team members?
Oh yes, when they were running, when he was running, yeah, we went to see the race he was running. We went to see him. Same with the rest of them. We went and see what they were doing. The same as they done with us. Went and looked at the boxers and even with them. You see, we were boxing at night time. At the start, some of us were boxing in the afternoon, but then it was all at night time.
Right.
But the other ladies, what they were doing, like, track and field and all that, they did all the whatever they were doing, like, running or jumping or whatever it was. They did it in the daytime. It was a daytime sport kind of thing.
And was it a really big difference from coming from Ireland in the fall, when we know Ireland is cold and damp, to all of a sudden you're in the summer of Australia, of Melbourne, in the heat? Do you think that affected anyone's performance, or did anyone feel, that the heat was a problem for them? You were lucky you were boxing at night.
Yeah, but no, nobody complained. You couldn't complain. It was too big.
Right.
It was too big a thing. You were just so happy. It was like being in heaven.
Right. And so then after the ending and closing ceremonies, did you get to carry the flag back in for the closing ceremonies, or what did they do?
Yes, that's when there's closing ceremonies. I had the flag, and I done the same thing when the thing was over. I got the flag, and me and Harry Perry had to stay behind. All the rest of the team left a week before me and Harry Perry left, because there were so many on the plane. There was a late booking, And I being captain, I had to volunteer to stay behind. And Christy Murphy was in the hospital, so there was he couldn't go. He had to wait there. And Harry Perry volunteered to be with me, so me and Harry left the week after the wrestling went. And I got the flag, and that's when I took it with me.
And how did your manager come home? Did he come home with you and Perry?
No, he came later.
Still later. He was still in the hospital.
He was in the hospital, yeah. He was in the hospital when we left.
Wow. And then so you the rest of the team have come home from the Olympics back to Dublin and home to their towns, and then you get to come home.
Yeah.
And what kind of day was that when you arrived back in Drogheda? Like you flew into Dublin?
I flew into Dublin, and we met in Dublin, and we were treated treated well. Then I had to leave to go to Drogheda, and they had Joe Mullally and them came up to Dublin, to meet me and take me to and there was a parade for me in Drogheda. So I had to go that evening. I was in Drogheda, and I had to get out of the car up at the railway station and march down into the town in front of the band, the Drogheda Brass and Reed Band. Marched me down the Dublin Road over to the square, and they had a big, they were all giving talks and speeches.
How many people do you think came out that day?
I don't know. I think all Drogheda, all around Drogheda was there.
So how many people? Like 2,000 people?
Oh, I could see nothing but people. I wanted to get away from them all.
And how about, was your family there? Was your mum there? And was your sisters and all your brothers there?
My mother was there. My father was dead.
Right, but who say that again? Who was there when you got home?
Oh, my mother and brothers. I'd still say some brothers married. And my brother John, Lewis and Francie, my sister Edna, who was in England, they were there.
So they all.
But they're all in Drogheda, yeah.
They all came home. They were all there for your homecoming.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. So the after the games, like how did that after that whole experience of going to the games, what did you decide to do then? What were you? Did you continue boxing to maybe go to the next Olympic Games, or did you think about going into professional boxing, or?
No, I boxed in after that in February. In February, I think it was. Ireland was boxing England in the Albert Hall in London, and Dick McTaggart was on the English team, and I was on the Irish team. And I said, I'm going to have one more fight, and then quit. And
who's Dick McTaggart?
He's a Scotsman that was boxing for England. He won the gold medal.
And did you fight him in Australia?
No, I didn't. He won the gold medal in Australia. The fellow that beat me, the German, he boxed him in the final.
So now you're going off to the Albert Hall.
Albert Hall, I'm going on the Irish team over to the Albert Hall to fight Dick McTaggart. And I beat him. So I said, I can't do any much more for boxing, So I said, just retire. I couldn't do any much greater.
But you didn't want to try maybe going to the next Olympics in 4 years' time?
No, I'd be too old.
You thought you'd be too old? How old? Okay, so how old were you when you won the 1956 Olympics?
I was 26. I was born in 1930, so I was just 26.
Yeah, that's very young. And then, so what is like what's the biggest memory that you have of the Olympics in Melbourne?
It had to be the flag. Carrying the flag, that was just great. And then having it, they said I stole it, but I didn't. I borrowed it.
Right.
I didn't steal it, but I still have it.
Right. So, and if there was an opportunity to alter anything about that experience, is there any? Would you change anything?
Well, me, I wouldn't change anything, not one moment. The rest of the team, I don't know. But I wouldn't change one moment.
And to this day, do you follow the Olympics? Do you watch the Olympics on TV? And when they come every 4 years, like when they're going to be in England this year, are you going to watch for the boxers? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm always look and see who's who and what. Especially if it's somebody from Ireland, you know, boxing.
right, well, Ireland's never won as many medals as they have since 1956. I think Ireland came home with 11 medals.
No, it was say, 6 medals.
Oh, 6 medals.
Yeah. Ronnie Delaney the gold, Fred Teat the silver, and me, Johnny Carter and Freddie Garay had the bronze. 5 medals.
5 medals?
There was 5, yeah. Johnny Cardwell, Freddie Garay and me had bronze. Fred Teat had a silver. And Ronnie Delaney had the gold.
Okay, and the wrestler and Mavis and
No, the rest,
they didn't come home with golds.
no, they didn't win any medals.
Okay, well, I think I just heard somewhere that Ireland has never been that successful at the.
No, that was a great team, and that was the best team they ever had. Like, you know, winning.
And so to the Olympic for the boxers or any of the Olympic athletes that are going over to England this year, you know, what would be your tip or your advice that you'd give them as these young athletes are now going off to experience something that you experienced, you know?
Well, the only thing I could tell them is, if you're a boxer, just say you're going to win. Tell yourself, convince yourself you're going to win. If you're a runner,